Welcome to Whiskey Nightcaps, the channel where we do sip before sleep. And I am the host, Jason Davis. And what is the topic of the day? We're talking about single malt whiskey versus single grain whiskey. I know some of you, this is confusing. Now, if you don't walk away from this video with anything, okay, the biggest part of this, or the most important part of this that I need you to understand, is the meaning of the word single, okay? Single refers to one distillery in this case. So let's start with single malt. Single meaning the whiskey is distilled at one distillery. And you're thinking, well, why does that need to be said? When we're dealing with Scottish whiskey or even sometimes Irish whiskey, there's a lot of blended whiskeys that come along down the way, which are blends of whiskeys from different distilleries. So this distinguishes, that moniker of single distinguishes this type of whiskey from that type of whiskey. Malt, we're talking about malted barley, 100% malted barley. To malt barley means that they trick it into believing that it is growing. They stimulate germination of the barley and then they quickly cut it short, dry it out, and use it to ferment this whiskey. Now, why do they do that? Malting the barley releases the sugars inside this grain, and sugar is needed in order to make any kind of alcoholic beverage, really. And so you'd rather use natural sugars than to have to add other sugars to this mash. All right, so for those of you that are sitting in the back of the class, again, single malt means single, one distillery, plus malted barley, 100% malted barley equals single malt whiskey. Okay, so single grain, what is this? And I know it is tempting, it is so tempting for your mind to say single grain means this is a whiskey comprised of one grain, but no. Again, how many times do I have to say it? Single means one distillery. Say it with me, one distillery. And when we're talking about grain, it means anything other than malted barley. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one grain. It could be whiskey that's made out of multiple grains that is not malted barley. So it could be one grain, it could be corn, wheat, whatever, but it could be a mixture of grains in this mash bill. Okay, so single, one distillery, plus grain, anything other than malted barley, equals single grain whiskey. Keeping it short, keeping it brief for you guys. Hopefully it has cleared up some things for you noobs, and for the rest of you whiskey vets out there, you know, hey, put some stuff down in the comment and school these youngins. Whiskey Nightcaps out.